everyone. I get a lot of questions about how to create texture on your project. So today what I'm going to show you is how to use ferro texture paste with background stamps to create some great effects on your projects. So what I'm doing today is I'm actually going to show you how to create these little textured embellishments here for your layouts. So to start with, what we need is some chipboard or grunge board. I've actually cut these out using the Big Shot machine, but you can use any shape or piece of chipboard that you wish. The thicker the chipboard, the better this actually works because the texture paste is quite thick. So we're starting with ferro. Now today what I'm actually using is the steel colour. Ferro actually comes in 13 different colours. I like using the steel one for this particular project because it is like a neutral colour, so you can actually colour it up later on with any sort of colours that you prefer. So what I'm doing now is just getting a little paddle pop stick and just getting that out there. Now you can actually see that it's quite thick. It's not runny at all, so if you put over your bottle, it's not going to fall out in any way. So what we're going to do is we're just layering on some of this onto my chipboard shape, and the thickness that you'll need somewhere between about 1 millimetre or 3 millimetres in thickness, and you don't need to be perfect with this. This is the whole point of this technique. It just needs to be, quite textured. If you've got any little extra bits, just go along the sides there like that. Okay, so there we have our little chipboard piece. Just put any excess off back into the little ferro jar. And then what we're doing now is we're going to stamp into that. So you could actually leave it like that if you wanted to and let it dry. But what we want to do is we want to stamp into it and give it a little bit more, texture to play with. So what I'm using is a background stamp. Now this is a Darkroom Door background stamp. Now these are quite large. They're actually large enough to cover a full card. So if you were to do card making, you can see here that that whole card or that whole stamp would cover that entire card in one go. So that's one of the benefits of these stamps, but they are also very versatile in that we can use smaller portions of it to actually give us some more texture. So when you're doing stamping, you would normally press down that way to do your stamping, but because we're actually doing a smaller piece here, we're actually going to turn the chipboard onto the stamp. So first off, you need to spritz your stamp with water. Now the reason for this is so the actual ferro paint doesn't stick to the stamp. Now that's pretty important if you want to keep your stamps nice and clean. So all we're doing now, just pressing down our little chipboard piece. Now you don't need to press very hard. If you press too hard, you're going to get paint sort of coming out the sides. So you just want to press just gently so you know that you've got a little bit of texture, and then lift that off, and then you can see there the raised parts where all the texture of the stamp has gone into the actual paint. Now we just need to set that aside. So once you've done that, definitely use a paper towel or a little rag or something to just brush off anything on your stamp. You don't want the paint to stick to your stamps. Once that paint's stuck, it'll be stuck forever. So just give that a little bit of a wipe. So what we're using now is precious metal colour. Now precious metal colour is a metallic acrylic paint, and it goes on almost anything. It goes on glass, chipboard, paper, wood, ceramics, anything that is porous, it will go onto that. Just put a little bit onto your foam and then gently go over the top of your little ferro piece here. Now it depends on what sort of colours you like. What will happen now is the paint or the precious metal colour will stay on the raised parts, and then the ferro where the stamp has gone into it, because you won't get the paint into there, it'll stay the colour of the ferro, the original colour. So I'm just going over that with a bit of pink, and then we just want to add a few different colours with this, so just shaking up some of the other ones. Now this one here is a lime colour, just adding a bit more, and you can see here You don't go over the whole piece, just add bits of colour around, and that's how you build up layers of all the different colours. So I'm just going to move on to another one here. So this one here is using the striped background stamp. And so I'm just showing you the different textures that you can gain just by using different stamps. Darkroom Door actually has about over 20 different designs in their background stamp range. So there's plenty to choose from. And what I've found is that the less detailed stamps, so things like stripes or dots, you can see here's a couple here ready to go for colouring up. And once you actually put the little paints on there, you can see that texture really coming out. So the smaller the design, so the more basic, so the dots, the like script stamps, the stripes, there's a little crisscross one here that works really well. So all of those stamps work perfectly. Now I've just been using hearts for the shapes here because that's what I'm going to use on my scrapbook page. But obviously you can use anything like flowers, stars, any sort of shapes here. There's a card that I've created here using the same technique but just using butterfly wings. Also the precious metal colour goes really well on metal, so anything that you've got that's a metal embellishment, you can colour that up with all the precious metal colour as well. So I hope you enjoyed that technique. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next show.